Hi everybody, Tim Haslett here. I thought I'd just take a few minutes to talk about a couple of things. First of all, I just wanted to say to anybody who's watching this, I hope that as we get close to Christmas this week, that you all have a peaceful and joyous Christmas and holiday season. I wish you all the best and hope for your health and good fortune. So I've had a few people that have watched my videos that I've posted this year ask a couple of questions, so I thought I'd take a moment to maybe answer them for you. So I'm recording this on my phone. I don't have a professional setup at all, but hopefully the audio quality is good enough to at least get across what I'm trying to say. It's worked out for the videos. All the videos that I've made on my guitar or violin have been here on my phone, so I don't have a separate microphone or anything advanced like that, although I'm hoping to possibly look into that here in the new year. But one of the questions I've had is, hey, who's that picture of? Who is that in that picture behind you when you play your guitar? And that's, I think they're referring to this. So this is my grandmother. Her name was Mary Quinn. Pope was her maiden name, and then she married my grandfather on my dad's side, James Arthur Haslett. So it's Mary Quinn Haslett. So I don't know if you know it or not, but I started writing a blog about 6 years ago in February of 2014. And the focus was classical music because that is and always will be my primary passion. I love music in general, including all forms of music. And one of the stories I shared in my blog was my development musically. And as a child, my father he's right here. This is my dad as a very young man. He was a classical music junkie. He discovered classical music at a young age, and for the rest of his life, that was his primary passion. He was an academic guy. He was a scholar and loved reading, loved books, but more than anything else, he loved classical music. And so my earliest memories of music were hearing my dad's music playing. He wasn't a musician himself. He did play, I think, piano as a child at some point, but didn't really pursue his studies, and his main passion was listening to music, and he only listened to classical music his entire life. I know he grew up in the time of when music was going every direction, and I used to wonder, like, how could you not have liked Elvis and Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald and what and the big bands, and what was going on with you? And they were there. He knew about them, but he didn't have any interest in them. He was strictly classical music. So that's all I primarily heard as a child. And the window to the outside musical world started to open gradually through other influences. And my grandmother is one of those. She was an incredible musician. She never had any formal training as far as I'm aware. And my memories always go back to her playing the organ. She had an organ in her house, and she was self-taught, played by ear. She couldn't read music, hadn't studied theory or anything like that, but she could play anything. If she could hear it, she could play it. And I'm not just talking about picking out the melody with one finger. She had both hands going and both feet going on the pedals of her organ. She was an incredible musician, and I remember many, many times sitting on the bench next to her watching her play songs that she would just pick out of the air. And she had this great gift of improvisation too. She would play a song so you could hear the melody, but then she would go into some development of some other ideas and just go all over the place, up and down the keys, and it was just incredible. But her primary influences were and she was from Georgia originally. Her mom and dad are born and raised in Georgia, and she was born and raised in Georgia until she was 16 when they moved to Dallas, and then shortly after that up here to Kansas City. So she had a lot of influences like spirituals and hymns, church-based music, things like that, and then also the American songbook, standards, Broadway tunes, and things like that. I remember, and then beyond that, as that genre expanded, she had a record collection that included like Ed Ames and music from Fiddler on the Roof or Sound of Music, things like that. And she did have some classical records in her collection as well. But anyway, I always remember learning about and hearing other kinds of music through her, not my dad. So when we would come visit my grandparents getting to listen to her play the organ and sit next to her play the organ. And then she would let me play the organ, and I had some piano training at that point, so I could play some music, but just all the different sounds that the organ could make, and then you have these pedals that could make these great sounds. So it was just opened up a whole new world for me. But that's her, I believe, in the 1930s. I think she was born in 1916. So this was probably early 1930s before she got married to my grandfather, which I believe was 1936 or 37. And then the other picture here, it's harder to see when I make the video because it's just a smaller image of herself. But this is so that was my dad's mom. This is my mom's mom, Eileen. And as you can see in this picture, Eileen has her back turned, although she's looking around, and she too was a piano player. So my mom's family was musical as well, particularly her mom. Her dad, I don't believe, was ultra musical, but it was her mom that was the primary musical influence in her life. And my mom studied piano, went on to be a clarinet player, and sang as well. And I think my grandmother sang very well, as in addition to being able to play the organ. But so Eileen and Mary Quinn were both pretty accomplished musicians, I think, and that had a big impact on me. So I'm very proud of my connection to them, and I've always really admired and appreciated the musical influence that they gave me. So certainly my dad was a big impact as well, a big influence, but I learned about other kinds of music from these two ladies and from my mom. My mom also had a collection of records that included, I think she had, I know Simon and Garfunkel was in there, Glenn Campbell, I think Louis Armstrong, that 50s, 60s, 70s early stuff. So I heard snippets of that as well, and thankfully now that door that opened up as well. So now I'm very passionate about all kinds of music, whether it's jazz or hymns or rock and roll or country. I can really find something to appreciate, even hip hop in some context as well. I'm good with as well. So my kids are both very much into rap and hip hop, so I've tried to learn a little bit about that. So anyway, so that's what those pictures are. This picture above me is an original painting that my mom did. My mom is a very accomplished artist and has been interested in art her whole life, and has painted and drawn and sketched quite a number of great pieces. So I'm happy to have this in here. And this is a clock that I got at Hobby Lobby a couple weeks ago that I thought was pretty cool. On this wall over here, we have a picture of my sister and me when we were very little. I think she was born in 67, and she's probably not even a year old there. So that's probably 1968. I was 3 at this point or something like that. And then down here I have a picture of my mom and my dad as a young married couple at some kind of a function. My dad's got a white tux on with a black tie, and they're enjoying some kind of a function. So this is where I make the videos and listen to a lot of music. You can see I have a lot of CDs here, some records at the bottom. I have another record cabinet downstairs. My dad had a pretty good sized collection of vinyl and CDs, so I still get most of my listening done through CDs and albums. My turntable's kind of on the fritz at the moment. I've been waiting for a new stylus to come in, but I do listen to vinyl and CD as well. So anyway, I hope you're doing well. Like I said, I hope you have a very blessed, peaceful, joyous Christmas season, and I look forward to communicating with you again soon. Thank you.